Ain't lying, man.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, most merciful, I'd like to greet everyone with the greeting words of peace. Welcome to the Jock Brothers Show. We back on again. It's 7 o'clock. I don't know where you are, but tonight we're here and we have a great conversation with great guests and guest hosts. Tonight, I want everybody to stay tuned. My name is Brother Ahmed. For all of y'all who don't know, tonight we have a host of guests. But first, I'd like to introduce a brother who has his own podcast, but he took time out of his busy schedule to come join us tonight. He's one of the greatest, hottest DJs all over the world. We're gonna say he's worldwide. but the great thing about him is that after he spins behind the wheels and plays that righteous music, instead of going to put on a Superman uniform, he could put on a suit, an executive order, and go out and save the world with his knowledge and his wisdom. I'd like to introduce everybody, all our viewers on the show tonight, to one of our co-hosts, one of our guests, a dear brother and a dear friend. Please welcome with a Jock Brothers round of applause, Brother Reginald Muhammad.
Salam alaikum, brothers. Salam alaikum.
Yes, sir. We thank you for joining us, Brother Vaughn.
You don't want to make an open word there, Brother Vaughn?
Oh, just an honor to be among the brothers as a guest to discuss this very, very important topic. And I can't wait to hear from our guest speakers today so we can ask them these questions to get inside their minds regarding this very, very relevant topic of reparations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. We thank you for joining us. But Jackie couldn't join us tonight. He had other prior engagements. But next host on the list is another brother, a great brother, a father, a mentor. I mean, he's one of the backbones of the Jock Brothers, and we love him. We like to bring him on with a great Jock Brothers round of applause, Brother Kawi Muhammad.
Hey, be to Allah. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. I'm very interested in this topic tonight. I think this is our first topic on reparations since we started this podcast. And that's one of the landmark conversations that we have from in the Nation of Islam and outside of the Nation of Islam. This is one of the landmark conversations that we have. So I had a chance to talk to these brothers. They got a great perspective and game plan as to what reparations really look like. And so I hope you enjoy what we're about to get tonight. Now, once again, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Jock Brothers Let Us Make Man podcast. I cannot thank you enough for all the support you have been giving us. Your support is much appreciated. Truly, words can express how much we appreciate you. I will like for each and every one of you to please share this podcast on your platforms. Please share your podcast on your platforms. And if you go to YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell. For we want to get this message out to as many believers, just family as possible. And for those that have donated as little as $1 to the Jock Brothers platform, we thank you, and I hope you see that your monies are being spent wisely. Now, we have an initiative, and we've been pumping this initiative now for almost a couple of months now, and that's our prison initiative, in which we are trying to send the Final Call newspaper, baddest paper on the planet, behind bars across the country. We already did the research to send the Final Call newspaper to an inmate. It's like $18 for 3 months for like 90 days per subscription. $30 for a half a year and $60 for the year. So please get behind that initiative, man. We got to help our brothers in jail stay update to what's going on out here on the streets. Now, we have collected quite a bit of money already toward this initiative, but I just personally don't know those many people that's behind bars. So I need people that know a family member or know a friend that has a family member that's behind bars that would like to receive that paper. If you could please reach out to us and give us your family member, your friend, inmate information, we can get that paper to him right away. Now, we do have a website, Jock Brew. Can you find it for me, man? I don't have it.
Jock Brother.
Jock Brother viewers. Let me try to find it for you, so you can. That's one of them. That ain't it. There you go, right there. Jock Viewers at gmail.com. If you can reach out to us on this particular Gmail right here, we can get your information, and we can start getting those subscriptions sent to your loved one that's behind bars. And last but not least, and I ain't trying to put a glimmer on everything, we would like to send our best wishes, prayers, and condolences to Student Minister Stanley and Sister Ruth and family for the loss of their beautiful daughter,
Indeed,
Sister Kira. I mean, you know, she didn't spend much time with her, but you have no idea of the impact that she has delivered to us over the short time she's been amongst us. So, heartfelt condolences to Student Minister Stanley and Sister Ruth and family. All right, with no further ado, let's get off to the show. Back to you, Brother Ahmed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Tonight's show is specifically dealing with reparations. We have guests on the show tonight who have broken this topic down, laid it out. They're going to come on and expound on it on so many levels. But let's start with this. On November 16th in Atlanta, Georgia, the National Reparations Institute, published the first ever economic and political document which completely defines and quantifies reparations for Blacks in America based on a collective cultural model and methodology. Tonight, we have two brothers who've put together an ebook that we want you all to look at. We want you all to do your research on it. We'll do what we can to promote it tonight. We want to start with our brother, Michael Muhammad. He's a retired air traffic control specialist. He's a married father of 3, a veteran in the Nation of Islam. Brother Michael has done extensive research over the last 25 years in the areas all over the United States in banking practices, foreign and domestic policies. The brother is coming to the platform with a wealth of knowledge and study and information that he's compiled in this book. We want to bring on with a great Jock Brothers round of applause and an open ear and mind to our brother Michael Muhammad.
Thank you. All praises due to Allah. I'm grateful and honored to be on, brothers. I've watched a few of your podcasts. Brother Reginald has told me a lot about what you all do and your following. So we are definitely honored to be on, and hope that we can shed some light on the reparations movement and open some eyes and bring our people further and closer to the understanding of what reparations really is.
Thank you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Right now we wanted to bring on Brother Reginald Muhammad. He's having a little technical difficulties, but Brother Professional Reginald Muhammad is going to join us in a second. And for Brother Reginald Muhammad, I mean, what can't you say about him? He has such vast level of knowledge and experience. He has multiple degrees in political science, in broadcasting. I mean, the brother just comes to the table with also an extensive background of knowledge and information. He's also an author. He received countless awards. One of the awards he received in 2018 was from the Southern Center for Human Rights. They presented him with the Gideon's Promise Award. He's been given all the awards all around the city, all around the state. Brother soldiered and worked with Bloods and Crips in LA. I mean, the brother's just a hard-working soldier.
Come on now.
He has helped build up this ebook that we are getting ready to discuss, and he has put a lot of work into it, a lot of work. And we're going to break down and dive into this. So everybody stay tuned with an open ear and open mind, because this is going to be a great discussion. And chime in with any questions in our YouTube chat, please, and send this out, because tonight we're going to deal with reparations. Next week, we're going to deal with separation. We might come back again with another reparations or separations, but we're going to compact this stage and this platform with information that we can all have a better discussion about this. Brother Michael, because when I listen to the radio and you hear comedians and these talk shows talk about reparations, they all always bring up, oh, okay, well, what are we going to get? A whole bunch of money so everybody can buy Cadillacs and da-da-da-da-da. They make such a joke out of it, like it's
right.
not a real serious issue, that we're not, like, as if we're not supposed to receive reparations. So let's start right there. Could you start to break down the meaning and
Yes,
the point of reparations and why?
Well, I think number one is we decided that we had to define what reparations was. Our enemy has defined it for us, and our enemy has been a master at the Hegelian dialectic, where they have a problem, they have opposition, and then they come with a solution. And they use our people against it. So what they first do is tell you, oh, you're just going to get a paycheck. That's not reparations.
Right.
So we came up with the definition of what complete reparations is. And that definition is the process by which a nation of people is provided with the means to repair and restore their condition, achieve complete decolonization, make themselves whole through the ability to self-govern, self-sustain, and self-defend with their own independent landmass, economy, education, culture, and high civilization. If we can't do that, then we have not received reparations. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that the root word of reparations is repair.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't depend on the enemy to repair our condition, but we must be given the tools to repair our own condition. And if we look at the Muslim program, particularly what the Muslims want, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gives us a blueprint on how to repair ourselves. So that is what the Declaration was designed after. It is a branch or a root of the Muslim program.
So brother, let me ask you this. I hear you, brother.
Yes.
What made you and your brother Reginald decide to take on such a big topic? Where did this come from? What's the seed that was dropped on you?
Well, Brother Reginald was given, according to Brother Reginald, he was given the assignment from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan about 17, 18 years ago to push for reparations. Brother Reginald had been pushing me and cajoling me to join him in the movement. But about 2 years ago, he cornered me and asked me to help him to build a movement in Atlanta and write the Declaration. So at that time, I went ahead and decided to join him, and then we started working together on the Declaration, and we had our first summit in August of 2020. So we've been working at this for about 2 years, and we decided that we were going to quantify our own reparations instead of using what so-called white scholars have used to define reparations for Black people. We decided that we needed to find reparations for ourselves.
Okay, yes, sir. Go ahead.
And could you go a little deeper into the point you were making about why us, why now? I mean, we should.
Okay, well, this is the time of the end of America. We have nowhere else to go.
Right.
People are in trouble. Our people have become, as the Honorable Louis Farrakhan has taught us, we have become them. And if we don't do something soon, we won't exist anymore because of our condition. So if we look at our present condition in America, let's just look at it. In 1900, the Black economy was 1% of the gross domestic product in America. In 2016, the Black economy, and I'm talking about what we produce as Black people, was 1.2% of the gross domestic product of America. In 1960, 40% of Black people owned a home in America. In 2020, 41% of Black people owned a home in America. In 1960, 94% of Blacks in America had a father that was the head of the household. In 2020, 75% of the people who headed a household in a family was a woman, and there was no man. Our condition demands that we get reparations and we build for ourselves, because we see that dealing and staying amongst this enemy is nothing but our destruction. So reparations is the key to our separation.
Come on.
Praise be to Allah. And can we go a little now we talked about the present, but let's go back into the past. You know,
Yes, sir.
Like, I don't know if everybody saw the movie Life, and I wanted you to go over the different aspects of our history where we were taken advantage of. Okay. But just the free labor. And when you think about like the movie Life, where a young Black man could have been anywhere in the South, and he's picked up for vagrancy. He's charged with a charge, and he just don't want to die. But take me to jail. I just don't kill me.
Well, let's take it back. Let's take it back a little bit further, Brother Ahmed.
Right.
Because let's talk about emancipation.
Yes, sir.
When the Emancipation Declaration was written, and we were allowed to, and I'm going to say quote unquote, come off of the plantation, and we were for a period of 5 to 7 years supposedly free men, this affected the world economy. What a lot of people do not understand is when we came off the plantation, 1 million people around the world lost jobs. So there was pressure on the United States by other governments around the world. They're asking the question, how are you going to get these Black people back on the plantation? We need that cotton. We need that tobacco. We need that sugar cane. Them not being on the plantation is affecting our economy. So you all have to do something to get them back on the plantation and get them working again.
Right.
So instead of having official slavery, they came up with the Black Code system or the Jim Crow system. And that was, they wanted to control us through prison and be able to say that we violated vagrancy laws by just being present.
Right.
You didn't have your papers, and you didn't say you had your freedom papers, and you couldn't say where you were going and who you were meeting that was white. Then You could be charged with vagrancy, put in prison, and then you could be what they would call, you could be farmed out and loaned to farmers.
Mm.
Well, once this system started coming into place, the farmers started seeing that they benefited even more.
Come on, man.
Yeah, right.
So the prison system now makes a profit by renting black bodies to the farmers. The farmers make a profit because they don't have to take care of the black bodies. All they have to do is work them. If the black person dies, they can just throw them in a hole and go rent another. Excuse the word, let's go rent another nigga.
Come on.
Was the philosophy. So now there's profit. Did you know from 1900 to 1945, white people in the South made $15 trillion in profit off of black people from the Jim Crow laws?
Come on, man. Let's
Wow.
talk numbers here. Let's
Wow.
talk
Yes.
numbers.
Yes.
Right.
So this was a profitable business. The U.S. prison system was built off of this.
No doubt.
The United States agricultural system was built off of our back. Then you have the Industrial Revolution. People don't know that U.S. Steel is responsible for many black people under the Jim Crow laws and putting us back into slavery. People don't know that a lot of the mining companies are responsible for how much they responsible for putting us back in slavery and making profits off us. The insurance companies. We can go all throughout history and show you how these companies, these corporations have made money. It's not just government.
Right.
It's multinational corporations. It is private institutions like Brown University, Harvard University, Yale. They made money off of us. So we have to bring all of them out. And then people don't know there are even now in existence 35,000 plantations that are responsible for our enslavement and benefit from what we did for them.
Wow.
So these, what they call industrial farms, are making big profits, and it's based on what they put us through from 1555 until 1965.
Yes, sir.
So
If I can
what
jump
we
in.
did was, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Apologies. First of all, Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers, and greetings from
Sir.
all of us at the Rockwell Radio Show. And I just wanted to jump in and say, obviously, and I'm sure that the Jock brothers and yourself are aware of Representative John Conyers, the late John Conyers,
Yes,
who
sir.
introduced many years ago what was known as the HR 40 bill, which was simply
sir.
a study of the impact, or what would be the impact of reparations. And each Congress session shot it down again and again and again. And forgive me for forgetting the representative's name who recently picked up the bill again. I want to say it was
Cory Booker.
Representative Cory Booker. Okay, I was thinking Sheila Jackson.
Sheila Jackson Lee and Cory Booker, they both did. Yes, sir.
To pick up HR 40 again, just to have it examined, but yet again, it gets shot down. What are some of the reasons why that they can't even get their black constituency to back this bill? Why would you say?
Well, I think Brother Reginald can expound on this a little better than I can, but I think what we have to do is we have to talk about how we suffer from caucophobia. And Brother Reginald came up with that word on caucophobia and the fear really of Caucasians and what they think.
Right.
So, we're waiting on a bill. We're waiting on Congress and the Senate, and this is some of the issue we have with some of the reparations, those in the reparations movement. We're waiting on Congress and the Senate to approve a study of reparations, but no nation gets anything done without the nation putting it forth.
Right.
So we're still waiting for people to free us when we must free ourselves.
Right.
We deserve full and complete reparations, but it's on us. It's incumbent upon us to get reparations. We can't wait on Congress or the Senate or the president to give us reparations. I think Brother Reginald's on now. And
Brother Reginald, did you hear the question, sir?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Yes,
sir.
loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, well, brother, that was a very good question that you asked. Our people remember when he said caucophobia, That is the collective fear or intimidation of European people or those who class Caucasian, white, Aryan, or Jewish. Anytime you have a people that have been traumatized, terrorized, tortured, and tormented for centuries, in the very DNA and in the psychic of us as a people is a deep-seated level. And when you find Black people that don't support, I don't care across the board, whether they're on the campus, they're in corporate America, or they're on the corner. If they say that they don't support reparations, it's usually for two reasons. It's because of their ignorance about reparations, or they fear what the white backlash is about reparations. See, your most liberal friends are with you until you reparations. Your golfing buddies, your lunch employees, they're all with you until you raise the question of reparations for the masses of our people. And in the very psychic of us, our people, when you find Black politicians who are elected officials at the federal level, remember HR 40 is federal legislation in support of reparations for the masses of our people. But we got Black elected officials who won't sign on to the bill, white people who have already signed on to the bill.
Right.
Those Blacks who won't sign on to the bill is because there's a deep-seated fear of what the white backlash is going to be about reparations for the masses of our people. And so we got to keep that in mind. And one of the reasons why we wrote the Declaration, because there's a lot of misconceptions, and distortion about what complete reparations is. And I submit to your audience, if you're talking about the restoration and transformation, the complete restoration and the transformation of Black life, the only political that will do that is everything that anybody else bring up. I defy any of the scholars and the leaders to tell me differently. Anything else they suggest, it's an economic and political patchwork. It will not restore, dignify, and unite a people economically, socially, and educationally. It won't happen unless it's complete reparations. Everything else is political and economic. Let's be real clear about that. And so that declaration, brother, if Pookie is standing on the corner, he reads that declaration, he know who owe us, why they owe us, how much they owe us, and why reparations is essential for all of America. And
what did you say to the Larry Elders of the world?
Hey, brother, can you briefly speak about the different reparations that was given out to different to the Jewish, the Cambodian, the different reparations that were given out all over the world?
Well, you have
because
go ahead.
It's only people who have been organizing longer than anybody. 100 years, Black people have been organizing in the United States for reparations. We're the only people that they have not seriously talked about and decided that they will go ahead and implement and legislate on behalf of Blacks for complete reparations. And around the world, brother, the United States has been involved in reparations. Of course, we know.
Okay, hold on, brother Reggie. Your reception is coming
after
in.
World War II, who was to internment camps, was to death camps. The United States, other nations are still paying reparations, and reparations does work. And remember, I'm giving you an example. This is a form of reparations. After World War II, there were countries, at least in Western Europe, that were devastated after World War II. I mean, the infrastructure was destroyed, people were destroyed, the economy was destroyed. They went in with what they call the Marshall Plan. And the Marshall Plan rebuilt at least 16 countries, brother. And now they're some of the most thriving economies today. That is a form of reparations. They went in and repaired and allocated money and resources, and now they're some of the strongest economies in Europe right now today. Remember, the Japanese people after World War II here in America who had been put in internment camps on the West Coast, their property was taken from them. they were given reparations. Now that is, and one of the problems with blacks receiving reparations, if you ask 10 reparations, what reparations like, you get 10 different answers. That's how the white ruling class knew blacks have never really been ready for reparations. They completely defined what reparation was. And then you ask them, what model and methodology are you going to use to get reparations? You get 10 different answers. There has to be. If you say the Japanese got reparations, I'll show you conclusively that is what you call the legislative model to secure reparations. The Japanese have gotten, the Native Americans have gotten reparations. And most of what they have gotten in either through the tort model. The tort model means that courts have decided what that reparation should look like. And blacks have been around for so long, brother, we have to come up with our own methodology to secure reparations. And that's what we design and call that. I've been a student of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Minister Farrakhan for 35 years, but I've been in the reparations movement, sounding on the ground by Allah's permission for nearly 30 years now. And so we didn't just come up with the concepts. We've been blessed to look at this in and out, over and under, and decide what is the best approach. And that best approach estimation is the collective culture model.
Hey, Brother Reginald,
the National Reparations Declaration is built around the collective culture model. And we have to have that. It would be like you saying you're going to build a skyscraper and you don't have any blueprints or any formal plans. You're just talking about building a skyscraper if you don't have blueprints and plans to actually do it where it's been formally designed. And that's what had been in the reparations movement. So in the last 2 years, Brother Michael and I have been blessed to design the collective culture to actually secure reparations for the masses of our people.
Brother Reg, you good, brother. I like everything you're saying, but your connection is still bad. I don't know if you can find another spot in your home that got a better connection.
Should I repeat?
We heard a lot.
No,
should I repeat?
You came in good.
Yeah, your audio is good.
Yeah. You okay?
Brother, I can tell.
Okay.
Obviously, you've done the study, you've done the legwork, you've done the research, and I think the most poignant point you just laid out for us is the fact that there seems to be, well, not seems, it's obvious that Black folks are not united over how to define what reparations is.
Right.
Let's excuse the U.S. government from the room for a moment.
Right.
What does a conversation look like among us to talk about how to define what reparations is? Case in point, we've seen our brothers on the right side of the aisle, people like Larry Elders and others of his mindset that have made the argument that Black folks don't need reparations, that Black folks have already received reparations and all of these various forms of crumbs that have been offered to us, but they sincerely believe this. There's the Candace Owens of the world who've been arguing against reparations for Black people. These, it seems to me, are our major opponents before we can even go to Washington. So how do you address this mindset of our people that think we don't even need it?
Right.
Well, brother, that's a good point. And Larry Elder and Candace Owens, they suffer from caccophobia, the collective fear, intimidation of European people, because I can show you conclusively where Larry Elder and Candace Owens support reparations for others. Remember now, these same Blacks, Larry Elder was around. He did not come out against reparations for Jewish people. He didn't come out against reparations for the Japanese people. And remember now, the last time the United States paid was 2016. Before President Obama left, he signed a reparations bill. And you had Black conservatives and liberals who all support the bill, but they don't support reparations for Black people. Larry Elder and the Candace Owens, they were around in 2016. It was a bill that Joe Biden helped co-author and push through Congress. You didn't hear any pushback on it, but it was the last remaining Jewish Holocaust survivors who they say were below the poverty level deserved millions of dollars of the United States money. That happened in 2016. You don't hear any outcry from Candace or Larry Elder, or any black conservative or liberal. You had black representatives in the House of Representatives who don't support bills for blacks getting reparations, but they all of them signed off on it to get the last remaining Jewish Holocaust survivors in 2016. That was a reparations bill. See, that's very hypocritical. Reason they don't support it, brother, because there is a white ruling class. When you raise the question of reparations, there's an anger on both sides, whether you call them white liberals or white conservative. How dare you, black folks, because of disrespect, the disdain, the hatred of black people, how do you raise the question of reparations? So how do we deal with that? That's a very good question. Well, we will never get all 100% people on board, but the masses of the people are ready for reparations, brother. And when they know what it is, give an example. I'll go into an audience and speak on reparations and give my presentation. From the beginning, I'll ask, how many of y'all support reparations? The majority of them, say if it's a class of 100 students or 75 students, maybe 30% of those hands will go up and support reparations. By the time I go through that PowerPoint presentation and clearly define what reparations is, and it's not about just black people getting a check, 80 to 90% in reparations, because finally they understand what it is. We've clearly defined it. We've articulated what it is. And it's not just the federal government that owe us, brother. There are over 35,000 plantations that are still in existence that made billions of dollars off the enslavement of our people. Harvard University, there are nonprofit organizations like Harvard University, Georgetown, Brown University, Cornell University, major universities that own slave brothers that built their endowment and sprawling campuses as a result of it. And nobody talks about they're against that because, again, all of them have gotten and benefited from the enslavement of our people. Brother Michael was right about how America benefited from enslavement. Not only that, brother, you don't have a bank institution worldwide until black bodies start to be distributed out the world. The insurance industry rests off the enslavement people. Industrial revolution, all of that rests off the black. And so when you bring it up, it makes whites incensed because the criminal has finally been uncovered. The criminal now and the perpetrator of the crime has finally been uncovered. So that makes whites uncomfortable. And since a boss sick, many of us are sick. Cancer and Larry Elder. But they also reparations for other people around very hypocritical. And the reason they don't support reparations is because they fear what the white backlash is, and because liberals and white conservatives, they with you until you raise the question of black reparations for the masses of our people.
Got it. Yes, sir.
And so that's why we don't let them off the hook. But as long as the masses of the people, Brother Vaughn,
hold on, he's just coming in bad now.
Go for reparations.
Yeah, we got to get in there. So look, let's
put on hold for a second.
Okay. Let's do this, Brother Michael.
Yes, sir.
Now, according to your book, $83 trillion.
Yes, sir.
Is what we'll do.
Yes, sir. And that's for four variables.
And
that's for four variables.
Talk about that.
Okay, there are four variables that we talked about in the National Reparations Declaration. So of these four variables, one of it is land being the cornerstone of black redress. One thing that happened to us between 1866 to, we'll say, 1965 is that 14 million acres was taken from black people. Now we have a nation of 40 to 45 million black people, but we only have between 2 and 3 million acres of which to support ourselves. According to the Department of Agriculture, it takes 1 fertile acre of land to feed one person for a complete year.
Mm.
So if we have 40 million people, 45 million people, and 3.5 million acres among black people, well, we're going to starve to death. So the Honorable Louis Farrakhan told us that we needed 100 million acres. You can't sustain yourself on 1 acre for 1 year and not do something to refeed the soil. So you can't, one individual can't just have 1 acre and survive. So we have to learn how to restore, replenish the soil, and rebuild the soil. So one of the areas of restitution was land.
Okay.
The second was forced-free labor of black people from 1555 to 1865. The forced-free labor of our people. We did an estimate of that, and we decided, based on a very conservative calculation, that they owed us $51 trillion for our forced-free labor, because they made nothing but dead profit. We can't even measure the profits they made off of our forced-free labor from 1555 really to now.
Mm.
We can't measure that. So we did a calculation based on a very conservative calculation, and we added interest. Because in the Holy Quran, it talks about when you murder or kill someone or treat someone unjustly, we don't always have to kill you, but you have to pay blood money.
That's right. That's right.
So there has to be a payment of blood money too, not just giving us land, but you owe us money for what you've done. So the $83 trillion, let's just talk about that. That is the value of reparations. That is not all cash. We know we can't depend on the US dollar. We know it's worthless. So some of that has to do with training. Some of that has to do with equipment. Some of that has to do with systems. Some of that has to do with infrastructure. Some of that has to do with the re-education of our people. Some of it has to do with establishing our own medical system. So we have to look at the whole gamut. We have to look at the whole rebuilding of a nation. And what we decided was, what would come up, what would it be that would help to revitalize and rebuild our people? Because we could have tripled and said that they owed us $270 trillion. Excuse me. And we would have been correct. But we wanted to see what would free our people. Another variable was the closing of the black and white wealth gap. Based on what we see, the black economy is only 9% of the white economy in America. Now, why is that? That is because of the roadblocks and the stumbling blocks that have been put in front of us. All that has been done to keep us in this condition. But we look at self and say, man, we just ain't no good. But we don't see the work that has been done and continues to be done to keep us in this terrible condition.
Come on.
So we can no longer remain where we are. And if we get reparations, which we will do, how many of you sitting here think that white people are going to want to be bothered with us?
Mm.
If Brother Ahmed is worth $500,000 today, but at the end of reparations, he's worth $2.7 billion as an individual, how many Caucasians that knew him being worth $500,000 or less are going to want to deal with that man alive? They're not going to want that. We have to separate. But we must have reparations. America pays Israel reparations every year.
It's facts.
Of $3.6 billion in cash, but with other things that they give Israel, it is said that America gives Israel about $32 billion a year. And they've been doing that since 1948.
Come on, man.
So they pay reparations all the time.
So let me just get something clear, since we are defining this, because now it's not all about the money.
Correct.
It's now we deal with money and land, but the money would not come to a check just to each individual. There's a plan for the money.
Yes, sir.
These are the variables that you're talking about.
Yes,
but
sir. That is correct.
I don't believe that many of us even realize the importance of the land.
There is a Jewish scholar said that if you don't have land, you are nothing. Some of the greatest landowners, Ted Turner, owns 1 million acres of land. Bill Gates owns nearly 3 million acres of land. In fact, Bill Gates is working to take over all the major farms around America so he can control the food. Most of your very wealthy, the Queen of England owns so much land, it is immeasurable. She owns land in at least 17 nations. The Catholic Church is one of the biggest landowners in the world. So we have to have land. Land is not expanding, but we have to have a state and territory of our own. We have to be able to take care of ourselves. Everyone is looking at us and saying, well, black people, we don't care nothing about you because you can't do anything. You're powerless. You are completely dependent on us. We have to become independent. Now, we lost 14 million acres. Think about this. At one time, we had 4.5 million black people with 14 million acres. Multiply that times 10. If the trend was going on and we're at 45 million black people, we probably have about 148 to 150 million acres of land. The enemy saw that trend and found it to be very dangerous and decided to put laws and stipulations in effect to take the land from us. There's a book called The Cleansing of America, A Cleansing in America. It's about the movement of black people out of Forsyth County, Georgia. 2,200 black families who own homes and farms in Forsyth County in 1912 were moved out of Forsyth County on the basis of a lie. But this happens all over the country. There are between 88 and 200 towns in the United States that move black people off of farmland and out of their own cities because of the threat of black economics.
Let me ask you this, brother. So we had this talk a couple days ago.
Yes, sir.
I just want to get down to it now. Say we get this money. Say we get any part of this money. Say, who gonna get the money? Who's gonna they're gonna start cutting me a check. Or is there a committee in place right now to work it out? What's going on with that?
The Jewish people have a Jewish center for distribution of funds to Jewish people in the area of reparations. We have in the National Reparations Declaration have a national center to receive, audit, and distribute money, training, equipment, and so forth. This is a plan. Remember, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan talked about the 9 ministries that build a nation. So everything must be funded. We can't just say we're going to cut a check for everybody based on 45 million black people get an equal share of $83 trillion.
Right.
But we have no infrastructure in place to develop and fund and develop our people. We need scientists. We need doctors. We need engineers. We need every aspect of life. So when we talk about reparations, we talk about building a nation. Now, in this, we may look at it and say, well, part of that $83 trillion is we want to design a banking institution.
Right.
The Honorable Louis Farrakhan has developed a relationship with Iran. And Iran is a theocracy. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan, I think it was in Savior's Day 1997, he said that he wanted a theocracy. And they built their banking system off of the Holy Quran and the law of the Quran. So why would we not go to them and say, help us design a banking system? But America, you got to pay. You got to pay for those of us who get trained in designing and the development of our banking system. Now we need a computer system to build that banking system, to track the banking system. America, you got to pay for that. We're not going to go to you because we don't trust your banking system, but you have technology. But I tell you what, America, we don't like the way you use your computer system. We'll go to Japan, and the Japanese will teach us their computer systems. Right. Because their systems are a generation ahead of the United States. So we go to the Japanese and we get and learn from them. But America, part of reparations is you got to pay for the training that black people get in the development of our own systems. We have to build our own mainframe systems. We can't depend on somebody else's. So when we talk reparations, we're talking about everything. We're talking about the complete re-education of our people.
Come on.
And I want to say this, that what I loved about your book, because some people may look at this as a, well, maybe they're bashing America or they're bashing, but in your book, you also made points on how America can actually benefit
Yes, sir.
from helping us.
Yes, sir.
Could you expand on that?
Please.
Well, America spends nearly $16 billion a year in the prison system. And a good portion of that $16 billion per year is spent on us, keeping us in prison. It costs approximately $37,000 a year to keep one person in prison. We have 2.6 million black people in prison. You multiply that times $37,000, and you're talking nearly $7 billion a year to keep our people in prison. We want to take our prisoners and reform them.
Right.
We'll be responsible for that. The cost of welfare, the cost of food stamps that America puts out, that segments of our people take, we'll take that responsibility on, America. You can benefit from that. The high school dropout rate,
right,
that we have, we'll take our people and teach our people that you don't have to worry about our people dropping out of high school and you're not getting your tax money for us being in your high school. Medicare, Medicaid, all of those things we want to free America from. We want to take that responsibility on for ourselves. So we talk about points on how America will benefit. America will benefit greatly. Then America will benefit from stopping being a hypocrite and lying and saying that equal justice for all when they know they don't mean that.
Right.
You don't lie to us anymore. You don't have to get on TV and say the right words anymore. We don't care anymore about that. You go be yourself, America, and let us go be ourselves. That's why we talked about how America would benefit.
Yes, sir. Then you followed it up with how black people can benefit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we have, and then we followed up from that, from how complete separations is essential. Complete reparations is essential. So there are points that we go through. We have a preamble. We have a declaration in a preamble on, just like the Declaration of Independence, we have inside our Declaration of Independence. That's what the National Reparations Declaration is. But America has to pay. We have to put pressure on America, and we can unite our people. Our people have the power to get reparations. America is telling you today that they're ready to give reparations, but we have to push it. Reparations is the talk now.
Right.
If America didn't want the subject to come up, that she knows what time it is.
Come on now.
Here. So now, black people, we have to get our stuff together and push it. When America filed her Declaration of Independence, she just didn't send the Declaration of Independence to England. She sent it all over the world to get worldwide support. And then England started getting pressure to let those people on that colony go. We must do the same.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
This document, if you read the National Reparations Declaration, you'll see the strength in this document that proves it is time for reparations. And reparations is synonymous with separation.
I wanted to touch that point. That's a great segue to the question I had for you.
Yes, sir.
You have repeatedly mentioned the two concepts back to back, reparations and separation.
Yes, sir.
I think that our people will agree wholeheartedly that reparations are due and that reparations are just.
Yes,
even well-meaning white people who understand the time what must be done know that to preserve America, that reparations is the only way out to help black people.
Yes.
But that separation factor.
Yes, sir.
There are those of us who yet do not understand what separation is. So my question is, how do you explain the purpose, intent, and necessity of separation as it relates to reparation?
Look at Chinatown. Look at the Chinese in America. The Chinese live in America, but they have their own towns, cities, and communities set up. They have their own banks. They have their own hospitals. They have their own schools. They're in America, but they're separate. The Jews, the same thing. You know, in Atlanta, if you go to Cocoa Hill, that is a Jewish community. That is a Jewish-owned McDonald's. They use kosher beef. That is a Jewish-owned Publix. That is a Jewish-owned Kroger. That is a Jewish-owned skate rink and a trampoline park. Everything in the Cocoa Hills area is owned by Jews. There's a Dunkin' Donuts in Cocoa Hills. It is all Jewish-owned. The police patrol that area by that community's permission. But no one is arrested without the approval of the community. The police have no power in communities that are independent. You can go to Peachtree Industrial Boulevard and you can see the Latino communities building up. They have banks, they have stores, they have their own patrols. They're separate, but they're still in America. Separation doesn't mean going to a different landmass. Separation just means that you are separate in your own economic, political, educational system. So we can live in Atlanta and we can have a section of Atlanta. Or we can live in the state of Georgia and have a section of Georgia or the section of the whole South. And that can be ours. And then we set up our law. And when you enter that section of Georgia, you have to submit to the law that we have.
Come on, right.
For example, I'll give you an example. I had an associate who was traveling to a state up north. She was afraid, so she had a little stun gun, looked like a cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
She could carry it in Atlanta, but when she got to the state that she went to, couldn't carry it there. Soon as she got there and she was trying to get back to Atlanta, they inspected her bag. They put her in jail.
How about it?
Different. A lot of people don't know that the 50 states are 50 different nations. And they were united in the states. We won't go deep into that, but this is what we have to develop.
With their own constitution.
With their own constitution. That is correct. And you have two things. You have Georgia, then you have the state of Georgia. Two things legally I won't get into, but we have to figure those things out. So that's the same thing with separation and reparations. It doesn't mean that we just go. A lot of people say, "Oh, you want separation? You go back to Africa." No, man, we built this.
Come on, right. Come on.
We want our piece of this. And in the declaration, in the National Reparations Declaration, there are 12 states that we believe could be considered for our separation. And in the 12 states that we listed, we deal with agriculture, manufacturing, mining, and natural resources, because we have to show what would benefit us. We can't go and just say we want a part of the country and not know what we want.
Come on, come on.
All these lands are fertile and minerally rich, and most of them have outlets to the sea.
We'll be like Haiti, with a barren country.
Haiti's not barren.
Well, I mean that they don't know how to actually pull the resources out of the ground.
And if they do, for example, in Haiti, they found I think it was 32 billion, was it $32 trillion worth of natural gas in Haiti. And the U.S. Navy moved on Haiti.
Wow.
So now you have Western companies going into Haiti, mining their products. So we have to have control of our economy, and if we do it, everybody else will follow.
Now, one of the I was in a discussion about the book with a couple of my other colleagues, and they were talking about the international effort in this book. I know, like in civil rights, once we went through it, you can see other countries follow suit. And whatever happens to the black man in America, black man and woman, it normally plays an effect all around the world, the black and brown people all around the world.
Yeah, well, in fact, we have developed a quantification scale that can be used in any municipality, any state, or county government here in America, and they can use the quantification scale anywhere around the world. We can quantify reparations in any country around the world with the scale that we develop.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
That's beautiful. Now, there was when you was explaining the different aspects of what we were owed.
Yes, sir.
If you could just touch a little bit more on that.
Okay.
Starting from, and you threw out you say 1555?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if we could start there.
Okay.
Because most of the time, the number that we look at is 1766.
Right. We started from 1555, and the reason being is because we could have started in 1442 off of the coast of Spain when the Spaniards and the Portuguese were bringing Africans up into Europe. But they weren't doing enough. They were bringing some of us up from Europe, but we couldn't quantify what they were doing. We could have gone to 1521 when Cortez landed down in South America, but they brought 100 black people with them, and those 100 black people escaped and built their own. We started in 1555 because of the agreement between Sir John Hawkins and the Queen of England to turn the what we call the transatlantic enslavement and trafficking of black people into a multinational for-profit business for the sole purpose of the sale of black bodies in the Western Hemisphere. So we decided to start there because that is when England turned it into a multinational profitable business. Before then, it was not that.
Praise be to Allah.
And after England started doing it, then everyone else wanted to get involved. But England pretty much cornered the market.
Yes, sir.
So
we're gonna take a brief break.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna try to get Brother Reginald on the phone so he can speak from the phone because his connection is messed up. But Brother Kawi, we want to take a brief break.
Yes, sir. So once again, everybody, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Jock Brothers Presents Let Us Make Man. For those of you that are viewing, as you can see, this is a powerful subject. I can, to say the least. Man, please, if you can, share on your platforms. Share this podcast on your platforms, and the people that you share it with, get them to share it as well. Because, I mean, this is just a subject that we must receive and take real serious. Because, I mean, everybody want to talk about relationships and UFOs. Let's talk about this subject right here, reparations, because this right here is something that's in our reach. Also, again, I'd like to thank you for supporting the Jock Brothers podcast. Once again, we have a prison initiative that we like everybody to get on board with. Like, again, we have gotten many donations toward this initiative. A lot of people out there really do care about the people behind bars. Unfortunately, I just don't know those many people behind bars, neither the brother Ahmed or brother Jackie. So we really need everybody in on this to send us information on people that you may know that's incarcerated, so that we can get the Final Call newspaper behind bars and get those brothers behind bars caught up with current events, the time related to scriptures, and just get their minds prepared for a greater day other than what they're seeing right now behind bars. So again, if you know somebody behind bars, or you know somebody that knows somebody behind bars, please reach the Jock Brothers and allow me to get you that information. As you can see, it's jockbrothersviewers@gmail.com, or just simply give me a call for those that have my number, or Ahmed or Brother Jackie. I think I touched on what we need. Oh, I'm sorry. Savior's Day time. Savior's Day gift time. We in that season where we are donating, giving savings a gift, and showing appreciation and love for the man that has basically given his life for us. And I'm talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So if you have if you love this man, if you benefited from this man's good words, if he's transformed your thoughts or even your life in any type of way, what better way than show a little appreciation to him than giving a donation to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? You can find the link to donate on our Savings Day at noi.org. noi.org. And they'll have a donate button right there. It's very easy to figure out and toggle through. So please support our efforts to show appreciation to the really the only man today that hasn't sold us out at all. Our true shepherd.
Come on.
I'm talking about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
That's right.
So thank you, brother, for the opportunity. Back to Ahmed.
Thank you, Bro Kawi. And before Bro Reginald, I got Bro Reginald on the line. He's going on. I know he missed a lot, but he was listening. But before we bring him on, our brother Michael, where can our viewers purchase this book?
They can go to the National Reparations Institute.org. That's nationalreparationsinstitute.org, and they can order the ebook, or they can order the softcover book like this. The softcover book for all the listeners is 10% off. It's $13.95. We'll give you 10% discount if you call us or email us at info@nationalreparationsinstitute.org and let us know that you're looking for that 10% discount, and we will give you the discount and send you out the book. The ebook is just $5, and you can download it and get it on your computer or on your iPad immediately if you go to nationalreparationsinstitute.org. And we're asking everybody to read the National Reparations Declaration, because we think what we have in here will give you the proper idea of what reparations.
So that was information at nationalreparations.org.
info@nationalreparationsinstitute.org.
Institute.
Yes, sir. At National Reparations Institute. So our email is info@nationalreparationsinstitute.org.
And what was the other?
Our website is nationalreparationsinstitute.org. There's something on there you can purchase, and you can send an email right from the website. So if you get the email address, you can send one to us right from the website.
All right, I got a couple of questions, brother. Let's you back on with us, brother Reginald?
Yes, sir. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I asked this
There you
question.
go. There you go.
I asked this question the other day. You saying 83? I want to get back on the 83 trigger, man. It's just a mind-boggling number, man. America is in so much debt right now that they can't even pay out their debt right now. But yet we're saying $83 trillion. You know, is that a real number? All right, how about this? How about this question? What if they say, you know what? I hear you. How about we give you $5 trillion? And then from there, $1 trillion a year for the next 10 years. So that'd be $15 trillion. If they say, look, take this or leave it, do you think that's a good number that you can go with?
No, sir. That does not free our people. $15 trillion is approximately $311,111.11 for per person. Now, the average home in America is worth $400,000. So if you buy a house, your money's gone. If you want to educate your children, it costs approximately $100,000 to educate your children at a good post-secondary institution. That doesn't free our people. What that does is put us in deeper debt. So $5 trillion won't do anything to repair our condition. $15 trillion won't do anything to repair our condition. And we're not looking for just dollars. The biggest portion of that will be land and a separate state. That's number one. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan said that we needed 8 to 10 states to supply our needs for 40 to 45 million black people. So we have to put land in that equation. That is the biggest portion. What is the average? What's the average price of an acre of undeveloped land in America? It's around $6,000. So we have to look into that. We have to look at the average price of commercial land. We have to look at the average price of industrial land. We have to quantify every aspect of our lives. What is the value of a city? What is the value of a farming community? What is the value of an industrial park? These are things that we have to quantify. So it doesn't mean just dollars and cents. This is the value of what reparations is. And it's not that we're going to ask America, we want a check for $83 trillion over 20 to 25 years, but you're going to give us the value of that over that 20 to 25 year period. And that is going to include the 8 to 10 states that we require to fulfill our needs. Our free basic needs of land, food, clothing, and shelter. We have to have land to do that.
Now, Brother Michael, now you mentioned that all the positives for, I guess, giving us these reparations.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever considered some of the negatives that maybe how America is looking at it? Because without us, they truly doomed. Like they mercy, for lack of a better word.
Well, remember when the king of Nineveh came out in sackcloth and ashes, he got an extension of time. I don't know if America has that time, but it's her duty to give reparations. She knows what she has to do. She may get mercy. Some of the mercy is, if you look at some of these movies, some of these military movies, you'll hear somebody say, listen, I'll be merciful for you and I'll give you a quick death.
Right. I make it quick and easy.
That's mercy. America, we'll just make it over for you real quick. You won't even feel it.
Wow.
Or you'll suffer the 10 plagues. What do you want to do? But what our people can't do is just accept what America offers. Whenever somebody sits at a negotiating table and offers you something, you know it means nothing to them. And if they would offer us $15 trillion, $20 trillion, it's not worth it. If you calculate it for every black man, woman, and child in America, it's not worth it. We have to develop our people into a people that can do for self and maintain themselves in the 21st century and beyond. That's why we came up with this calculation of $83 trillion. I'll give you an example. Let's look at the Homestead Act. In 1862, America offered 1.5 million white families who were immigrants approximately 160 acres of land apiece. And all they had to do was live on that land for 5 years and they could have it. Live on the land, work the land yourself, and after a 5-year period, it's yours.
That's right.
From that time, about 93 million white families benefited from the Homestead Act. Now imagine, we have 45 million black people in America. Imagine if 45 million black people, imagine 1.5 million black people got the Homestead Act and got a proper education. Where would we be? We would be on par with white America economically, maybe ahead. But they made sure that we did not get the advantage of the Homestead Act. 99.97% of the people who got land in the Homestead Act were white.
White folks, come on.
We calculated that is worth $4.5 trillion to our people because we were unable to take advantage of the Homestead Act.
Right.
We can now let's go now to the 40 acres and a mule project. Most black people think that 40 acres and a mule was for all black people. But if you go to field order number 15 of General Sherman, after emancipation, it was for 10,000 black people that lived off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. And it was a military move. First, it crippled the Southern farmers, but it was also a means by which the U.S. government could get black people to stop following the U.S. military and the U.S. military having to take care of them. So they said, here's 400,000 acres. There's 10,000 of you Negroes. You get 40 acres and we'll let you borrow a mule. It wasn't even to give them a mule.
How about it?
The government said, we'll loan you a mule for a while. They got the land. They started developing the land that white people said was underdeveloped and could not be maintained off the coast of these states. And when white people saw black people developing this land, they took it back.
Come on now. I wonder if I can interject real fast. It seems to me that in the dialogue of reparations, people often omit our savior,
Yes.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
He told us, a message to the black man, to put the Muslim program before Congress.
That's correct.
Yes, sir.
When we take into consideration the Muslim program, which can be found on the back page of every issue of the Final Call,
Yes.
Could it be said that there are components of the Muslim program that are akin to reparations?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Declaration. Go
Brother.
ahead. Go ahead, Brother Reggie.
Yeah, absolutely, brother. In fact, when you read the Declaration, you see the framework is built off of what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad just taught us.
Yes, sir.
Remember this too, brother, is that when we go before Congress, what we have done is built on the framework that and the foundation that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave to us. And so at the end of the day, we can take that declaration when, again, if the person is sitting in the Capitol in Washington, D.C. now, or in the Georgia State Capitol, or here at the local level, when they read the declaration, brother, they're very clear about what reparations is. And so you're right. That is the Muslim program, brother. And we should always remember that. But when you read the declaration, if you really know the Muslim program taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when you see where we have built our foundation is the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And what you see that one thing we have done is formalize it so anybody can pick it up and read it. They won't have to guess or speculate what complete reparations look like. And so that's a very good question, brother. And the only thing we have done is formalize it and put it in a document where all of our people can read it. They don't have to guess or speculate it. But remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave us the foundation. He gave us the framework, and that's all we have done is build on it. Because again, remember too, when you read the declaration, the minister said we need 8 to 10 states. Well, we offer at least 12 states, and he can decide and tell us, or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad can say, you know what, brother, these are the states that will be the most applicable and the most attractive to what we need. And that's so that's a good question, brother, and that's what we're aiming to do. We have in the next 200 days, brother, 120 to 200 days, we will have a final reports from 5 select committees. And in those final reports and recommendations from education and culture, it'll spell out with our scholars and our researchers, they will spell out how much money or how many resources and what resources are needed to build our people up economically and culturally. Number two, then number two is economics and investment. Well, our scholars and researchers will decide what that looks like in the form of reparations. But it's all centered around now the National Reparations Declaration. So that's why we urging the readers to read it, because it's a quick read, about an hour and a half, you can get through it. But finally, you'll be able to say, you know what, this makes sense to me now. And those who give an example, some of the reviews of the declaration are people who had never thought about or supported reparations. But after they read it, they said, okay, brother, you know what, this makes sense now to me. I have family members, brother, who have always been in opposition to reparations. And once they read the declaration, they said, okay, you know what, this makes sense to me now. It's not just about you all giving somebody a check and black people don't want to work.
So we clear up all of that, all the misinformation and the misconceptions. But again, Congress, brother, will get those copies of those final reports, Brother Vaughn, and they will be getting copies of the National Reparations Declaration. That will happen in the next 90 days. Congressional people who sign on to H.R. 40, key people in Congress, they will all have copies of that National Reparations Declaration. So, yeah, we're taking it before Congress, brother, and putting the Honorable Elijah Muhammad program before Congress, that they will be very clear about what it is they owe us, how much they owe us, and why reparations is essential to all of America.
And what was great that in this book, you're also asking different organizations and groups to read this book and use this as a platform when they're coming to the table with this with reparations as the forefront, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because again, it's well documented. It's not like because we know that there are 100 books out there now on reparations. There are thousands of pages of researchers have done, but what they had not ever done before that uniquely we were blessed to do is that Brother Michael developed a quantification scale. That had never happened in the entire history of the reparations movement. Right now, you hear the black petty bourgeoisie saying, and I'm gonna give you some example. Robert Smith, the brother who paid 2 years ago, paid all the young men's tuition at Morehouse College. He says, well, we have to have at least $15 trillion to close the wealth gap. Bob Johnson, who used to own BET, he said we need $15 to $20 trillion. You have the economist out of Duke University, William Darity. He says $15 to $20 trillion. But what they have done, brother, they have used white economists to decide what and calculate it based on what white economists have said. And they come up with $15 to $20 trillion. That's just to close the wealth gap. But the problem with that, though, brother, is that if you don't properly assess the damages, you'll say $15 to $20 trillion. And had you really done the assessment like we were blessed to do, we know at minimum you come to the table with we start negotiating at $83 trillion. Because it's not just the wealth gap, brother, that we're dealing with. We're looking at over 300 years of free labor. These are things that they didn't calculate on.
Right.
The blacks operate on less than 2 million acres of land today. But at one point in time, up until the early 70s, we still had over 14 million acres of land. And the Minister Farrakhan said, the reason we're harping on this, Minister Farrakhan said, if we don't answer the land question in reparation, he said, all of it is a sellout and a compromise if we don't answer the land question.
Right.
That's right.
So that's why we're harping on it. But we understand that the part of the reparations package is, give an example, black farmers, the thousands of black farmers who have been systematically locked out, locked under, and locked in for over a century. Well, at the end of the day, we know farmers got to have irrigation systems. They got to have equipment. That's part of the package. We got to have communication systems that are put in place. Precious metals that the United States own and have stolen, gold and silver and other precious metals. That's part of the reparations package. And one of you brothers raised the question, well, if they decide to cut us a check tomorrow, what do we do with it? Well, brother, in the declaration, we describe there will be a national center that will oversee the management, the distribution, and the control of those who will pay blacks who will pay into the national fund. That will be based on a commission that we set up. But we have thought about all of that. We leave nothing to speculate about, to guess about how we will do this.
Yeah,
it's in the declaration. And then too, we got those reports that were coming out. The National Reparations Select Committees will be issuing final reports, research reports, and recommendations on what that looks like. Because we know historically black colleges got to have some billions of dollars.
Right, definitely.
Well, what does that look like? We know that there are populations of black people, Pookie and Ray Ray, and them who's not going to anybody college. Well, they deserve free vocational training.
Right.
That's in the reparations package for us too. That represents the $83 trillion. And then too, and I know Brother Michael has already said this, but one of the things that our people what makes that manageable, all of that is not from the federal government. We have, give an example, we know that there are college, major white colleges and universities, nonprofits that owe us. We know that there are select multinational corporations that owe us, like Bank of America. We know Wells Fargo. We know Aetna Life Insurance. They all participated in the enslavement of our people. CSX rail system. They all benefited. And so these are select multinational corporations that owe us, nonprofit organizations that owe us, and then too, there are over 35,000 plantations that are still up and operating that made their money. And once they realized, brother, that we had documented their participation, many of them will come to the table and start paying us right away.
That's right.
And
that's right.
In fact, what you're seeing around since the Black Lives Matter explosion, you're seeing corporations now throwing money, billions of dollars to blacks because they know reparations is coming, and they know of our body of work. So they're already giving money because they think that black people are stupid enough to take some crumbs. When, give an example, had we really assessed the damage, I'm gonna give you an example real quick. Brother, if you're in a car accident and the insurance company call you tomorrow and say, I'm gonna give you $1,000, you just sign the release form and send all of our paperwork back, but I got $1,000 for you tomorrow, and I'm gonna put that check in the mail. Now, had you done an assessment and the proper damages that what have done, you will realize, you know what, because I've just sustained some long-term injuries. It's not just soft tissue damage. The vehicle was destroyed. Well, that $1,000, if it had been properly quantified, is really worth over $1 million. And that's what's happening with the reparations movement. These select multinational corporations know once the National Reparations Institute assess the damages, we'll show you what they said that they're gonna pay $10 million over the next 5 to 6 years. But hell, we know that they owe us over $50 million for the next 5 years. Because now we have properly gone in and quantified it, and that's what's unique about the declaration is that scale. It can be. We can go to any African nation, and with the right team and the right variables in place, we can tell you what Britain owes. We can tell you what the Dutch owes, the French, the Portuguese, and others owe.
Hold on, bro, Reg. Yes, and I mean, this book is so detailed, man. I mean, I know you can go all day. About this book, brother, because it's very detailed. It's just the way you were explaining. I'm glad you gave that example with the vehicle. But we really want to look at closing out right now. We reached that time, so we're gonna go around and give closing remarks. If you wanted to start, I know you were just on the road, but if you wanted to just give your last closing remarks. And we have on the screen where our viewers can purchase the book. They can go on your website.
Okay. Well, Brother Ahmed, first off, brother, I want to thank you and your whole team, Brother Quay, Brother, what's the other brothers?
Brother Jackie.
Brother Jackie. Brother, we just first off want to thank you for allowing us to be on. I'm certainly honored. Brother Michael is honored, and the staff that we have at the National Reparations Institute. And we want to let everybody know the National Reparations Institute is not a new organization about reparations. It is a policy center and think tank. So we do this 24/7. We talking and building reparations. We don't put it down 1 week and 1 month, then we come and have a meeting and we start talking reparations again. But it's an operation, a think tank, and a policy center. And please give us a call at 404-464-8904. Again, 404-464-8904. You can call us during the business hours. You got some other questions and concerns. You want to help us out. But what we need right now from you all is to go buy the ebook. You can go to their website or order the National Reparations Declaration, the bounded copy, and read it for yourself and share it with your friends. And if you have an organization and you want to buy it wholesale so you can make some money to raise money for your organization, call us at the National Reparations Institute. But I am so grateful and thankful for the honor and the privilege of being on you all's show and your platform. Again, Please give us a call if you have any other questions and you want to support us, you want to work with the National Reparations Institute, our policy center. Thank you so much. And remember this, there is nothing out there left for Black people in America. If we're talking about the success and the sustainability for Blacks for the remainder of the 21st century, it's complete reparations. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Oh,
Thank you.
alaikum salam,
Thank you,
sir.
brother. That was beautiful. All right, Brother Michael.
I think Brother Reginald said it all. I don't have much more to say, but to thank everyone and thank you all for having us on, brothers. We want complete reparations for our people. We're going to fight like hell for it. And we're not afraid of what anybody thinks. We're not afraid of what anybody says. We'll take on all comers with the National Reparations Declaration.
Yes, sir. And I wanted to say I thank both of you for coming on and all of the work that you put in this book. Look, we working, brothers, and we're going to continue to work to get this knowledge and wisdom to our people. We're always in the work of resurrecting and repairing our people.
That's
so
correct.
This is just a beautiful aspect and a beautiful legacy that you're leaving with us, and we pray that it can reach and get into the right hands and cause us to come together.
Come on,
so we can have these great discussions.
Well, you know what Elijah Muhammad said: if you see something needs to be done, don't ask permission to do it. Get up. And get it.
Yes, sir.
So we see the need for reparations, and the minister planted that seed in us in 1990 in Atlanta at the Stop the Killing tour. When the last 20 minutes of his lecture, he talked about reparations, and he told America to add it up. That was the first time I heard anything. I didn't know what reparations was until I heard him. But it did something to me.
Come on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Brother Vaughn.
Brothers, I just want to tell the truth. I mean, the people need to know, Ak. Vaughn was one of the original members of the Jock Brothers. They just couldn't figure out people what to do with the V, where the V should go. So I got kicked out. No, brother. It's an honor and a privilege to have sat with such great men to talk about, again, such a profound topic. Brothers, may Allah bless you on this effort. Again, I want to publicly invite you to come to the Rockwell Radio Show to continue this conversation soon. Absolutely. And may Allah bless us all. And again, brother, the Jock Brothers, thank you very much. Cast Rockwell Radio Show every Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Thank you, Brother Vaughn. Brother Kawi.
Yes, sir. So, Brother Ahmed told me about you two brothers about, I guess, about 5 weeks ago, and he was excited. He was seriously excited. And his excitement was such, well, I was like, book, let's bring him on. And now that I've heard you myself, I understand what the excitement was all about. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I have heard a lot of different ideals as to what reparations should be, or from a lot of different committees. But I must say, I mean, this is probably the most thorough, the most complete, the most well thought out program that I have heard. I threw some crazy questions at you because, you know, a lot of people talk, you know, on this about these subjects, and when you throw that little question at them, they break down. They don't have enough foundation to support what they are. I guess what they're trying to say, or what they're intending to say. But I could throw the same questions at you, and you just beat it down, because this is not something that you just woke up one day and said, "Oh, let me put something together." I can actually hear the passion that just pours out of your every word that you say, out of your pores, out of your spirit. And so, look, I don't know how far this is going to go, but you know, Allah knows best where to put His message, man.
Yes, sir.
And I think He has definitely, as He chose the most honorable Elijah Muhammad to come and get us, as He chose Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to continue on with this mission. I mean, He chose he put people in place, man. He definitely have. I really truly feel put his hands on you and brother Reginald in this particular regard. And so, man, just keep on pushing, brother. And I mean, hopefully, man, we can have a part 2 discussion on this because I really don't think y'all have touched, at least scratched the surface of what this subject can be. And so, may Allah continue to bless you, brothers, man, and much success in your endeavors. And hey, at the end of the day, I'm gonna benefit from it too. So, praise be to Allah. Thank you, brothers.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro. Like Brother Carl, we said, yes, this book should be discussed in our families. We have generations coming up, and they're hiding. This information is being hidden more and more from generation to generation, and that slavery is being accepted, and we shouldn't get reparations, and why do we need it, and maybe we're giving up integration for separation. It's either or. Either you're coming in with us, or we're going to give you these reparations so you can start your own. And it's so much. So definitely, like what Brother Carl said, we need to extend this conversation in our homes, in our schools, and everywhere. So thank you for blessing us with this book. Thank you, Brother Vaughn, for coming on. Thank you, Brother Michael and Brother Reginald, for coming on. Hopefully you may see us on the Rockwell show. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
You brothers were invited, but we weren't. But inshallah, we can come out. We'll do something of great magnitude that'll get us an invite to Jock Brothers Show. But thank you all for joining on. You can rewatch this show on YouTube, Facebook. Spread it, share it. Thank you all for joining on, and we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.
Well,